I am made of stars, stars, stars. I am made of stars, stars, stars. I am made of stars, stars, stars. I am made of stars, stars, stars.
Made by supernatural beings, we were sent to do the healing, break the cycles, break the ceiling.
Woman is my favorite word. Of all my identities, and I have many, I love my womanness most. I am LGBTQ+. I am the plus. I am white, Irish American, middle class, able-bodied, neurodiverse, artist, earth. I am woman, which to me means I am feminist. This is a poem I wrote back in 2009 entitled, I Am a Feminist. As long as violence against women remains a weapon of war, I am a feminist. As long as the earth, our home, is being polluted and destroyed in the name of progress and in the hold of greed, I will remain a feminist. As long as the story of women continues to be left out of mainstream media, history, education, and politics, I will be a feminist. As long as gender-based violence is a global phenomena and women continue to be controlled and contorted and silenced and shamed all over the planet, I will remain a feminist. As long as young women are taught to be quiet and polite at the cost of their true voice, ferocity, and strength, I will stay a feminist. As long as honor killings, sexual slavery, and female genital mutilation continue to be part of the story of women, I will be a feminist. And even when all these things are healed and replaced with respect, love, reciprocity, and empowerment for all beings everywhere, I will stay a feminist for another 1,000 years, just to be sure. Dear women of the world, my sisters, may healing happen. May we walk with one another to a space called bold and brave. May we remember our divinity. May our worth be ignited, our collective wisdom unleashed, and may we step into our empowered place and love this world forward into justice where all beings are free. Thank you, WOMR, for this opportunity to share my voice. This is Deirdre Deer Sullivan. Happy International Women's Day, everybody.
Shall keep on burning while we keep on chanting. Rise again. Love is the weapon, life is a lesson. Heard this one before and tell me why you are forgetting. Chanting on fire comes with a blessing. Drums now the tire, so the system starts stressing. Now the world is by the taking. Streets start shaking. Future in the making, so you best keep waking. We're here on a journey. Learn to ourselves, finding our way up to tomorrow.
Lesbians by Tamora Israel. Lesbians, from the Isle of Lesbians, Lesbos. The word lesbian has been pushed behind the cultural curtain, told to feel too shy to speak its power. But like all things, it is time for a change, time to put some respect on our name. Big L in the alphabet mafia, been out front since we was rocking 4 letters. OGs in the streets for those who claim and reclaim loud and proud. Say it with me, I am a lesbian. I came out in 1998, a terrified teenager, shaking inside but determined to be brave, a tornado of emotions on a tightrope, trying to balance in the upside-down world. Alone, but only for the other tightrope walkers. What a wonder. What a display of power. Shaky voice and all, speak your truth. I am a lesbian. A woman-loving woman who has fallen in love with the shape of harmony. Her crown worn with the kind of pride expected from a queen. And queens we are, and queens we know, and queens we shall protect. We are lesbians. We honor our giants with admiration and sharing of magic witnessed in real time, boots on the ground, honor amongst warriors as it should be. Thank you to those brave enough to stand up for what is right. From a social club to the Daughters of Bilitis, the latter, demonstrations focused on dismantling state-sponsored homophobia. Brave souls standing before psychiatry and deeming our love to be like all other love. Fearless lesbians placing protections and common sense where they belong. I am proud. You should be proud of who you are. Proud that you can always tap into the beat inside you to lead the way forward. I am a woman-loving woman who has fallen in love with the shape of harmony.
This is Lisa Brown.
You know, moms are so important. I really attribute who I am today to my mom. She was a remarkable woman. Her name was Trippie Brown, and she told me from a very young age that there was nothing that I couldn't do. And she said it from a uniquely woman perspective. When I was a very little girl, I was walking around mimicking my dad, being the quintessential quote-unquote tomboy, walking around mimicking my dad, wearing a tool belt and hammering in nails into trees and wanting to really do more boy stuff, quote-unquote. And my mom said from a really young age that there was nothing that I couldn't do. And how I read that was, as I grew up, I was fearless. And by the time I was in 5th grade, my mom kind of said, "Do you know what lesbianism is? Have I told you about that?" And she sort of posited at the time that I was probably going to be gay. I was probably going to be lesbian. And she was right on the money. I mean, by the time I was in 6th grade, I had a huge crush on my 6th grade teacher at Wellfleet Elementary School, who incidentally also was a very influential woman for me and encouraged me to become a teacher later in life. And I have had very strong women guideposts. My grandmother was a remarkable woman as well. She too told me that there was nothing that I couldn't do. So for the women out there, there's nothing that we can't do. And in fact, there are a lot of things that only we can do uniquely. And that is hopefully start running the world and wresting some of the power away from the men who have sort of had their time running everything. It's time for women to really step up and get into positions of power. Our power is unique in that it's loving and gentle and fierce and protective, nurturing and life-affirming, not life-destroying. So women unite today and on this day and every day. And I, for one, am proud and honored to be a woman. Okay, thanks, WMR. Thank you very, very much, International Women's Day, and all the other people that are sharing their stories today. And thank you, Pandora Peoples.
Hi, this is Jeannette De Beauvoir. I'm the host of Arts Week here at WOMR, and I'm also a mystery and historical fiction novelist and poet. And on this International Women's Day, my thoughts turn, as they do every other day, to be honest, to fiction and what is special about fiction written by women. I didn't say women's fiction because that's a fairly widely recognized subgenre of writing, and it gathers together romance and contemporary fiction and a dash of a little literary pretension, to be honest. But no, I'm far more interested in how women write and how they write differently from men. Our approaches are different, our styles are different, our tones, our words, our sentence construction even are all different. It's been proven in study after study, the most recent one sort of amusingly from the world of AI, asked to write the same paragraph first as a male writer and then as a female writer, the bot adopted completely different words to say the same things. The male version sounded like a Wikipedia entry, and the female version sounded like a personal diary. Because women have a more interactive style. They want to create a relationship between the writer and the reader. Men, on the other hand, seem to be saying, here's something I want to tell you about, and here are some things about it. The accepted wisdom is that women are more empathetic in their writing, while men are more concerned with their protagonists actually being right. Truly great fiction, this viewpoint says, is illuminated by compassion, not contempt. And that is, of course, true. But I also think there are other factors going on here. It would be easy to buy into the gender dichotomy as providing an answer. Men just aren't as good at seeing things from the point of view of others, this argument would go. But that's also a get out of jail free card, isn't it? It isn't that these male authors are unable to empathize. It's that they haven't bothered or needed to. If we analyze book awards, we realize that you can still have your novel hailed as a work of heartbreaking genius that is somehow universal, despite such a major deficiency. So why try? Some years ago, there was speculation that Italian novelist Elena Ferrante was in fact a man. But as women reading Ferrante, we knew their voice was that of someone who experienced moving through the world as a woman. The way you're viewed, the way you're treated, your emotions, your approach to your body. Contrast that with men who attempt to write women characters, many of which come down to little more than a set of breasts. I'm thinking just off the top of my head of John Updike, Paul Auster, Jack Kerouac, George R.R. Martin. Anytime a woman's breasts are described in detail, and especially if they are moving independently of the rest of the body, it's a sure sign that a man has written the description. Contrast that, if you will, with Madeline Miller's description of a woman. Even as a child, I felt it, and I marveled at the power of this woman who, though veiled, could electrify a room. Her skin, we suddenly remembered, was rumored to be gilded, her eyes dark and shiny as the slick obsidian that we traded our olives for. At that moment, she was worth all the prizes in the center of the hall and more. She was worth our lives. I'm not waiting for men to modify their writing anytime soon, but I am saying that for thoughtful people of any gender, women's writing will give you characters described with depth, intimacy, and often a little bit of subversion. The writing will be immersive. It will pull you into a nuanced story that engages all of your senses. It will embrace complexity and will, at its best, challenge perceptions and norms and traditions. Try it. See if you don't notice the difference. And that, on International Women's Day, is a lot to celebrate.
We Know How to Do This by Mary E. Cronin. We know how to do this. To breathe in a house with no oxygen. To drive in a township where you run us off the road. To dance in a hall where you leer, assess, grab. We know how to do this. To speak in code as you blunder and bluster, smashing all the china as you try to break us. We know how to do this. We meet eyes, we pass notes, we touch fingers, we laugh. We are smoke. We swirl around you, fill your eyes, your nostrils, your mouth as you flail in vain. We are an idea. We are timeless. You can't kill us. We know how to do this.
Me. 3, 2, 1, go. Hi, this is Rikki. No. Hi, this is Rikki Bates of the Incredible Casuals and formerly of Space Pussy.
And Dana McCoy from Lily the Tiger. And look out, world. Here we come.
Our brand new baby project is called
Blush. And you're about to hear the world premiere of Blush's maiden collaboration, Boxes.
Here we go. Dear Secretary Kennedy, I am writing this to you. I was born male. I never felt like a boy. I was never good at King of the Hill. I was right at home playing jacks with the girls, getting dressed for the party, and painting our nails. Growing up, back in the day, it was absolutely not okay to be gay, and I wasn't. I was a boy who loved girls who didn't feel like a boy. In some respects, which box do I check? Which box do I check? As a man, I began to understand, I suppose. I like the softness of silk clothes, silk sheets, soft kisses, soft folds. My passport says male, but is this a test? Do I pass or fail? Not all woman, not all man. I guess you could say I was born trans. Which box should I check? 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 I think I'm good. People say I'm kind. Yet this gentle spirit had to fight. Lawyers, courts, endless forms. Takes a toll to buck the norm. Costs were beyond extreme. Money, time, and parts of me. It wasn't choice. This is who I am. Could we have a box that says trans? Which box should I check? Which box should I check? I know I'm tall, my voice is deep. Love my hips sway, being light on my feet. I love being gentle with my strong hands. Sir, was your order targeting the trans? Because your order leaves a few folks out, kicks up fear and self-doubt. Should I even exist? Yet here I am, all woman, all man, proud trans. Which box should I check? 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 We're in the midst of a cultural shift. Did I fall through the cracks? Where do I fit? I thought no child would be left behind. Wait, which administration is this? Which box should I check? 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 hear you believe in personal freedom. I didn't choose, but there must be a reason. In fact, I have deep faith. I hear the universe doesn't make mistakes. I love myself today. Finally free. I love you too. Could you ever love me? If it's too much to ask for our own box to check, could I at least decide for myself which is best? Which box do I check? 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 Which box, box, box? Hey, are we sure we even want boxes?
Why are trans people targeted? Colonialism marketing. The right for us just to exist shouldn't be an argument. Catch us walking down the street, flowing, glowing, sparkling, resisting against the system. Our existence is a monument. Men want to touch us, but behind closed doors. Love us in secrecy, don't we deserve much more? I'm not your experiment, like new worlds to explore. Nothing's new to us, cause we were here before. Which culture you think invented gayness?
This is attorney Lindsey Straus, taken from a homily that she gave at the First Parish Brewster.
The last 2 months have been a very hard one for me as a trans woman to talk about, especially since I have been blessed that my path these past 2 decades has been almost uniformly marked by inclusion. In the course of one remarkable day in October 2002, I was not only able to get a court order to change my name, but use it to get a new driver's license and social security card. Later, I was able to get an F on my driver's license and to get my birth certificate changed to reflect my new name and gender. To be able to obtain these important markers of my inclusion as a woman and full member of society was incredibly gratifying. So is the acceptance I've experienced as a lawyer from other attorneys and judges. So it is with profound sadness, bordering on despair, that I have witnessed since January 20th the world for transgender women in this country turned completely upside down. So much of the progress we have witnessed over the past 20 years towards a society which values the inherent dignity and worth of all people is in the process of being rolled back by a would-be dictator promoting intolerance, hate, and division. So as we celebrate International Women's Day today and Women's History Month, how do trans women like me avoid sinking into a miasma of despair caused by an administration hell-bent on not only denying us the right to use bathrooms that align with our gender identity, to have the government recognize and affirm our gender identity and social security cards, driver's licenses, and passports, to be addressed by the correct gender pronouns, to serve in the military, and to have access to gender-affirming health care, but to deny our very existence. By, as a recent article in The Atlantic suggests, being like Sisyphus, the mythical king condemned for eternity to move a massive rock up a hill, but never to reach the summit, and by practicing hopeful pessimism, a pessimism built not on an expectation of what will happen in the future, but instead on uncertainty. In other words, while things have gotten very, very bad for women and trans women in this country and are likely to get even worse, there's no telling if things at some point will get better again. But if hope can't emerge from any concrete belief that we will actually achieve our hoped-for outcomes, then it must be sustained by our values, driven by a foundational belief in gender equality and in solidarity with women everywhere, to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. In the end, I believe it is having a hopeful pessimism that can sustain us in resisting the dark forces working not just to roll the boulder of women's and LGBTQIA plus rights back down the hill, but to see it crumble into dust. It tells a little bit about who I am and my path, and it talks about, what we're dealing with right now as women and trans women in particular. So it's that perspective I think it's a perspective that I hope that it's a perspective that women in celebrating International Women's Day will appreciate from a trans woman, from a sister who, has had a very successful life after transitioning, but, is in incredible pain because of what she sees as, what I see is going on in the country for all my sisters, my trans sisters and brothers.
And here's to all the tough girls, and here's to all the sensitive boys. We belong, and here's to all the rejects, and here's to all the misfits. We belong. Here's to all the brains and the geeks, and here's to all the made-up freaks, yeah.
Even on the darkest, moonless nights, the faintest, most remote stars appear to guide those wise enough to follow. Long before cartographers defined boundaries and borders, before the compass was standard equipment, before Google Maps, Waze, and GPS, explorers ventured into the unknown, blazed trails, and reveled in new discoveries. There may have been rough directions to these destinations, but little guidance. Often it was through stumbling along in the darkness that the new was discovered. Each new discovery brought new challenges. How to properly, wisely, respectfully deal with the new, the unseen, the unknown. While exploring, out of necessity, some things get left behind. And it is also true that in the discovery, the embrace of something new, there is the risk of being unable to return home. There remains hope for a return, even if to a changed world. For time has shown that even the faintest light has and will overcome the darkness. My name is Jamie. I am a transgender woman. Searching for decades, I found no map for the journey as a transgender woman. I stumbled in the darkness, desperately trying to return to what was thought to be normal. Only recently have I discovered a way, a path. It is not well marked. It is rough in spots, complete with detours and delays, embarrassing moments, and fear of the unknown. What I can say with certainty is that I did not go to school one morning to come home that afternoon a different gender. My volleyball experience is limited to casual co-ed pickup games at a picnic or a beach, not the desire to play on a women's varsity team. And I have never harbored any thoughts of using my trans identity to enroll in an Ivy League university. For me and my journey, none of the other recent and abounding snippets of misinformation have any credibility. I am not defined by executive orders. None of us are. Despite the stand of the current administration in Washington, driven by ignorance and fear, the truth remains. I am not lost. I am here. We're not lost. We're here. I am concerned, yes, afraid, not so much for myself, but for the millions of people in the LGBTQ+ community, and all of our children and all of our grandchildren, those who are bullied and threatened and considered less than human, those that are told they are undeserving of the rights and privileges that so many take for granted. What will tomorrow bring to them? But I digress. After wandering alone in the darkness for decades, I have found and followed the light in the company of a compassionate and patient therapist, a sensitive primary care team, through hormone replacement therapy, although that's a misnomer. Since I never had them, it's a matter of adding them rather than replacing them. I also had the company of a few close and trusted friends, many new ones, my family members, and most especially my Irish twin sister. I found the light growing stronger, revealed in surprising places like the Sidetrack bookstore and the Hazelperk Coffee House in Metro Detroit, the Keystone Conference in Harrisburg, the first event in Boston, and here on the Cape, PFLAG, my church, my employers and co-workers, where I am embraced by a growing and supportive and caring and loving community. I had no idea how not alone I was. Many in the trans community refer to their dead name. I understand that, but I've made a different choice. For I have not died. Rather, I have come full circle to a new, complete, authentic life. I was known as Jamie as a child. As an adolescent, I changed to Jim, trying to fit in. Now, finally, decades later, I am back to Jamie. As I said earlier, in leaving what is familiar, in looking to discover what's new and true, something gets left behind. And maybe you'll never get to go back to the way things once were. I know how unfair, unrealistic, and just plain wrong it was to believe that being in love and being loved for more than 20 years by my wife and stepchildren, their partners and their children, that would fix everything. We have been separated now for well over 3 years. For that I continue to grieve, and I am aware and so sorry for all the hurt and all the loss all around. But I have hope that light will again overcome darkness, that even without a map, we will find our way and see each other again. While there is no map, I am not lost. I am here. Having said all that, I will not have this administration or any administration, or for that matter anyone, take away my dignity or my identity, pass judgment on my journey, take away my health care, control my relationships, or otherwise pretend that I don't exist. May it be so for you as well. I will stand with all my siblings, he, she, or they. I will speak up when I should, offer encouragement as needed. I will extend a guiding hand whenever and wherever I may. We are resilient. We are not alone. We're not lost. We are here. May our paths soon cross. Wishing all of you the very best on your journeys, I remain Jamie.
Gratitude for all our contributors today to stories, poems, and songs on womanhood. I understand that we're at a very polarized time here where people are tempted to police or define the emotions and expressions of other people's identity, and everyone has their own ideas about how others should behave and feel. But I think policies should be as broadly accepting and tolerant as possible. A lot of biases that people have change when they meet individuals. And when they get to know individuals, they understand not only their humanity, but their hearts, and they can accept them as individuals that are exceptions to the rule. But if you meet enough individuals that are part of a group that you have a bias against, suddenly you can accept the whole group of people. And that's happened historically. I think it's not for us to decide how people feel or should feel about themselves or how they should express themselves. There seems to be this fervor of wanting everything to fall cleanly into black and white. But I think we're very far from understanding the spectrum of human identity, whether it is gender expression or sexuality. And as humans, we have a desire to label, to categorize, to understand others. But it doesn't usually lead to a better understanding of others when we focus on categorizing, because it generally is incorrect.